Hello everybody out there, YouTube land, Scott B373, Scott B373's channel, here live in my, once again, my little studio of sorts. No, it's, as I said, no recording. I'm going to bring guitars down here sometimes, but no biggie. But anyway, today I really want to get involved in a topic. I've not seen any videos on it, and I think there's probably high time someone did make one, I guess. I see a lot of discussion of it in message boards, a lot of debate. Some of you people out there that support it, I'm not saying very good things about you. I want to talk today about Christians and their gear snobbery, and how they think, they're Christian musicians, and how they feel like buying all this expensive stuff is somehow going to get them on the first bus during the second coming. Get that front seat in heaven sorts by because they went out and spent so much money on gear, and now they think they're going to really they're somehow going to get out of doing certain tasks in heaven. I don't know what the mentality behind it is. It's a stupid mentality, whatever, and a very harmful one too. I first started getting glimpses of it. I mean, there's Christian guitarists out there that really, not only are they snobs about it, but they idolize their gear. I remember being on an old message board just a few years ago. I think, in fact, I'm the last person to ever post on that board before they took it down. I used to frequent it quite a bit, and there was a subject that came up about buying clone pedals, clone effects pedals. Now, I myself, pretty much anybody who knows that most of the pedals out there, even the boutique ones, are all knockoffs of knockoffs. Heck, in fact, I was told, the bulk majority of your boutique overdrives have somehow or another ripped ideas from the Ibanez Tube Screamer, and some of them oftentimes got their sound influenced by the Marshall Bluesbreaker amp. So, to sit there and say what I'm about to tell you, it's just rooted in weirdness. They were talking about how buying clone pedals is a sin, and one of these guys, who was a praise leader, said that, that if someone comes into his group with a clone pedal, he don't say anything at first, but then he really gets on to them eventually that they need to consider buying something else because it hurts the profits of the other companies. The companies who are trying to make other pedals, like the boutique guys, it ruins their profits. And it should be, considered a sin when you're doing that. Really. No. Go ahead, just buy a clone. Go, have fun, knock yourself out. If a clone is all you can afford, then do so. As I said, most pedals are knockoffs of knockoffs anyway. And even when you buy the digital effects stuff, they're mimicking sounds anyway. They're copying artist presets, and they're doing all this other stuff. Some people say, well, that's not in the same league. Yeah, but they're still copying something, so shut up. Not very. It really burns me up. They noticed that they were talking about profits, and found out later that some of these guys, these discussions really did not have any, genuine root of concern, in my view, because of some of these guys were friends of people who own some boutique pedal companies and stuff like that. And, I think a lot of it was just a bunch of self-justification and garbage. But, profit was the key word. It hurts the profits, of these smaller companies, aka my friends own. or whatever. And yeah, the key word there was profit. But I've seen a lot of like idol worship too. I remember this post when I first started the message board I'm speaking of. When guys would take pictures of their pedal boards, they used to have, I think it was the Nova Delay. And I don't mean any disrespect to this guitarist. In fact, I won't even mention his name. Some of you may even figure it out. When this guy who had a website, this guitarist that had a website, a well-known one in the Christian field, when he switched his Nova Delay to a Strymon Timeline, not a bad pedal. I'm never going to own one, because the simple fact is that, you know, they've just been overused. I get just a good stuff out of my DL4 and my T-Rex tap tone. It does the trick for me. If you want to go buy Strymon, go ahead. But when he switched to a Strymon Timeline, about a month or so later, those Nova Delays were, you know, new pictures were showing up. Those Nova Delays were gone off these guys' boards. You know, clearly committing acts of idol worship. You know, yeah, now my board's like this guitarist right here, and I can sound like him. You know, and I understand that every genre of music has guys that want to sound like their guitar heroes. That's nothing uncommon. But this was getting bad, and they would never directly admit it, but, you know, they would always have a post that would say, yeah, well, my Nova Delay just wasn't cutting it for me anymore. So, you know, I decided that I needed to go with the Strymon because, you know, it just wasn't fitting, you know, to have that Nova anymore. No, you did it because this famous guitar player in the Christian field changed his stuff around, and you feel like you got to follow every footstep. I swear to gosh, I would honestly say that I think they, if he stood on one leg during the concert, they would do the same thing, and it's ridiculous. This is very dangerous to our craft. It's very dangerous to our. It's hurtful to it. It's depleting a lot of resources, such as getting new people in. There's people out there that, you know, I mean, particularly, I won't say what kind of churches they go to. You guys can figure that out. But, you know, people who sit there and think that racking up their credit card bills at Guitar Center, buying expensive amps and buying expensive pedals and buying expensive gear and making sure that, you know, they get the best handcrafted guitar because, quote, as one guy said about the pedals, he said, the way I see it, when we get this stuff, it's giving God our best. Well, first of all, you're not ever going to achieve any level of perfection, and nothing of this earth is good enough in God's eyes. I mean, you know, it means, you know, gold and silver means nothing to him. You mean something to him. He loves you, but the things that you attain in this earth mean nothing to him. I don't understand why you think that, but somehow or another you think going out and ringing up your credit card bills at Guitar Center is somehow going to get you on that first bus at the second coming. Come on, give me a break. It won't. You know, and when you guys do this stuff, and when you're out here and you're buying all this expensive stuff, you're essentially also giving the music scene, the Christian music scene in general, a very cost prohibitive image, even to be in a church praise team. I'm not talking about like being in, you know, Lincoln Brewster or somebody like that, or, you know, whatever. But just to play in a church, you're giving these people out here, you know, there's probably very talented guitar players in your very congregations today, very talented musicians in general, bassists, keyboardists, and drummers, you know, probably very talented people sitting in that congregation that just do not want to be a part of it because they feel like if they don't have $12,000 worth of crap, you know, they're not going to get, it's not going to mean anything. And yeah, and let me tell you something, some of you are very gluttonous over this stuff. In fact, I was talking to a guy recently in a Facebook forum, and he said that he was at a church as a session player to fill in for his friend's praise team. And I guess one of the sound man, I don't know, he might have been a member, walked up, looked at his pedal board, because it was a very small pedal board, and he said, "Is that all you got?" In a very, very downplaying and kind of way. And I mean, it was really a comment that anybody on this in the universe could have just lived without. And he went, "Yeah, well, yeah, that's all I've got." And I chimed in and I told him, I said, "Look," I said, what I would have told him is, if you're so disgusted by what little I have, how do you react to people in your congregation that have nothing, that have lost homes, that have lost cars, that have lost jobs, that don't have money to put in an offering plate? How do you react to those people? If you're going to belittle this guy over a pedal board, it's disgusting, and it really needs to chill. I'm sorry, but the sticker price on your guitar is never, ever, ever going to be enough payback for the price that Christ paid for you. You're not going to pay him back. You never will. Because, the thing is he did it out of love. You're doing it out of gluttony. I'm sorry, but you're not going to get to heaven any quicker. In fact, you're not going to get to heaven at all, thinking that, your gear is somehow, you've got all this superior gear. And I'm pretty sure there's some of you out there that when someone shows up with like a PV Delta Blues and a few amps, and maybe they might have a Behringer pedal or two, and their guitar might be a Mexican Strat, I'm pretty sure some of you want to hold your nose and vomit. But you know what? That's your problem, not theirs. I know guys right now that could go up on stage with nothing more than a Squier amp, a Squier Stratocaster, and a cheap cable that they got at Target, and they can sound better than you can on that alone. So, and you can sit there and you can kid yourself all you want about your gear, about how great it is. And really, I would love to one day, I would love to just take the, like show somebody who buys like an expensive amp, pull it out and say, "Hey, look at here, printed circuit board. Oh, and this right here you could find at Radio Shack at one point in time." Half these guys don't even know what they've got in them. They really don't. They just buy the stuff for image because, it makes them fit in. It's all about fitting in. It ain't about serving God. You can sit there and kid yourself and say, "Oh, look what I got. I got this new pedal today, and it's giving God my best, and he will praise me for it." Probably not. Because you got that, you're just justifying it. And I hate to tell you, as I said, I hate to tell you, you're not going to get into heaven any quicker with all that expensive gear than someone who's out there, doing mission work, or someone who's out there, going into the clinics and visiting the sick, and going out there and counseling people. You guys can sit there and kid yourself all you want that you're going to get these blessings from what you buy, when all you're doing is buying your way into heaven is what you're trying to do. But, you're not even a drop in the bucket, I'm sorry, in what God requires. And God doesn't require any of that. There's people out there in the church right now that are working harder than you guys are. And they're not even, and you guys are over there, every time you buy your new guitar or new pickups or whatever, your new amp, you're patting yourself on the back. But these people out here, there's people in your church that are probably getting ready to pack up and go somewhere, go to Haiti or wherever, and they're going to go in and they're going to go into these disease-ridden villages and things like that. And they're the ones that deserve the pat on the back, not you for what you bought at Sam Ash. Okay? So the next time you're in church, remember who you're serving and remember why. And be more outreaching to people. When there's someone that's interested in playing, open that door to them and say, "Hey, look, okay, let's see what you..." Now, I'm not saying, I know you don't want anybody in your band that doesn't know the difference between a G chord and, a G chord and an extension chord. But that's an opportunity for you to teach and to say, hey, you do want. We see you want to be a part of this team, and we understand you have some struggles. Let us help you with that. Rather than, oh well, man, you can't play with us because you don't, you don't have this or that, so you can't play. And there's people that do that. They are, and it's sad. So, anyway, just remember, guys. I mean, we joined the praise team. We're not rock stars. We're not. Stop pretending to be one. Very few people, the Christian music genre is just like all the others. Very few people make it. You got some guys out there like Cloverton that were very independent in their releases that managed to get some airplay. It's a little bit less bureaucratical, but still, it has it's still a lot of work, and you still have to put out a quality product. So it's no different. But I'm sorry, but your gear ain't going to get you there. There's people out there in that church working a lot harder than you are. Trust me, and getting sometimes not even getting a thank you for it. So anyway, that's my view of gear snobbery. I personally can't stand it. I hope it goes away. It's still popping up occasionally. I don't know. Maybe it's cabin fever. I don't know. I see it a lot during late in the year, earlier in the year. I don't know. Maybe people are just sick of being in the house. They got to take it out on somebody. I don't know. But that's my view of it. And guys, keep on playing. Remember who you're playing for. You're playing for this man up here. And he'll bless you for that. But he won't bless you for what, he won't bless you for what, how much money you spend. He never has, he never will. All right, guys, take care. Scott B373. We're out of here. Take care.